All right, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. Today we're looking at the results from the most recent Champions League in Fukuoka, which just, of course, wrapped up. And yeah, some pretty crazy stuff went down. They were, of course, playing in the rotation, but we get to kind of get a glimpse at what the future is going to look like here in the meta when, of course, we get to Atlanta Regionals. Some very interesting decks were populating the entire tournament. Obviously, a really cool deck won the tournament. I think a lot of y'all will be happy to see the deck that actually took down the tournament. Tord did good in this tournament, so like some pretty crazy stuff went down here in Japan. I'm pretty excited to look at these decks here. I think we got a good look at most of the top 16 from this tournament, and then a couple top 32 decks, I'm pretty sure, and then we can see the juniors and seniors divisions winning deck 2 in this video. I am using Pokemon book for this video. If anyone's wondering, I know someone's going to comment, what website am I using? So we're going to say right now, check the description to Pokemon book if you want to go check out the decks for yourself. If you're new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 21,000 subscribers. If you're going to enjoy the video, leave a like and let me know what you think of these results down below. Are you looking forward to the rotation, knowing what did good here at the Champions League? So the deck that won the tournament, yes, was the Feraligatr deck. Yeah, you heard right. Feraligatr won the Champions League, which is pretty crazy. I'm pretty sure this tournament had at least over 5,000 players. I'm not sure on the exact number, but Osaka had 5,000 plus players. I'm sure this one did too. And Feraligatr won the tournament. Now, I've done a video on this deck on the main channel. It's a really cool deck. It's a very genius deck. There's so many really cool synergies in the deck with the Feraligatr's ability and the Monkey Dories and the Mimikyu and the Relicanth. Some crazy stuff. The deck currently in our meta isn't great because it's a little shaky. I think that the format is a little bit too aggressive towards a deck like this. Also, it has a bad Gardevoir matchup. So Feraligatr is not great in our current format, but it looks like with rotation, this deck is actually going to be pretty good. And it has actually been winning a lot of like city leagues and stuff, so I'm not surprised to see it actually do well. But to win the entire Champions League is pretty dang impressive. Now, the one thing with this Feraligatr list that I guess is a bit different than the one we're used to is actually it's playing the Milotic EX in the deck. Now, Milotic, we got to talk about Milotic for a sec. This card was extremely popular this weekend, and I think that's because its ability, being immune to Terra Pokemon, is very beneficial when all these Terra Pokemon were dominant. I mean, Dragapult, Charizard, Pikachu, Tealmask, Ogerpon were all very common this weekend. I think that's why we saw Milotic be so popular. I mean, let me tell you right now, Milotic stonks are going way up after this Champions League. So definitely buy your Milotics now before they go up in price. But yeah, this Milotic is interesting. It's another attacker in the deck. You already play the water energy, but the whole gimmick of the deck, right? You have that Croconaw, Feraligatr, Relicanth combo, or use Feraligatr's ability with Monkey Dory, and then you use Relicanth with Feraligatr and Croconaw. You use the Relicanth to let your Croconaw, or Feraligatr use Croconaw's attack, and then you can hit and run to Mimikyu, or in this case, you can also hit and run into the Milotic EX. Milotic is a pretty annoying attacker. I think one of the gimmicks of Milotic is we're going to see a lot of Milotic Monkey Dory combos. You have this big annoying wall with the Milotic, and you have these Monkey Dories on the background kind of healing it and doing more damage every turn, making it harder to deal with the threat of Milotic, which is why it's so popular. With this list, there's no Grand Tree, which we've also been seeing used in the Feraligatr decks. This build is playing the Precious Trolley to be a little bit more consistent with the setup, which makes sense. We see 2 Artisan in there. Also, the 2 TM Evos. We got the Crispin, the 2 Lana's Aid, 2 Research. There's a Budu in the deck. Only 1 Mimikyu as opposed to the 2 Mimikyus we were seeing in the other builds that we've looked at, but really interesting to see Feraligatr win. So it's nice to see a single price deck actually win a massive tournament. I know there's a Milotic in the deck, but let's be real here. The main hitter of the deck is going to be the Gator. So really cool to see the Feraligatr deck do well. It's nice to see single price decks come back into the forefront. Honestly, probably thanks to cards like Monkey Dory allowing them to get there. The runner-up deck, the one that got second place was Goldengo Dragapult. Now, this is a deck I'm not sold on quite yet, as somebody who likes to play a lot of Goldengo, but it is really cool to see Goldengo still have success in the new format. I think Goldengo is still good. I mean, it still keeps a lot of decent cards like the Energy Surge Pro and stuff, but honestly, Goldengo winning this tournament would have been nice to see, but it's nice to see the Dragapult build do well, I guess. I mean, I haven't put enough time into the deck yet, but Goldengo does lose Palkia, and it looks like Tokus was not the common way to play the deck. Dragapult does give you a little bit of extra power. You get an extra attacker in the deck. It can be really good against Cornerstone Ogerpon, right? And then also you have the Dracloak for some extra draw. So one of the things about Goldengo is it does lose Radiant Greninja, which does hurt the deck a little bit, but when you have access to Dracloak, you get a little bit more extra draw on the deck, which is nice. And then, of course, Dragapult can be like a backup attacker if you do need it, because you have the ability to one-shot your opponent with Goldengo, and then you have that extra support with Dragapult, which is really, really cool. And, of course, the deck's got to play a Monkey Dory, right? Monkey Dory and Milotic seem to be pretty common this weekend. So yeah, Goldengo definitely looking like a pretty fun deck in the new format. I'm definitely going to try this deck out. I don't know if I'm going to make a video on it in our current format. Not sure if it's any better than just playing Palkia or Togekiss, but it's cool to see Goldengo still win. And if we're going to see the Dragapult Goldengo deck do well, it's cool. And it probably did have a bad matchup versus Feraligatr looking at it, mainly because Milotic and Mimikyu can be very annoying for Goldengo. The Dragapult becomes less effective against this Feraligatr deck. I imagine the Feraligatr deck kind of farms Dragapult just because you have 3 Monkey Dories to just constantly deflect the damage from Phantom Dive. All right, in the top 4, there was another interesting archetype. It was a Blissey deck. Now, it's more of a Blissey Walls deck. You can see there's Milotic, there's Cornerstone Ogerpon, which is really good right now, and then there's also Farigiraf. Farigiraf being really good against these big, basic heavy decks like Raging Bolt and the Terra Pikachu Ogerpon deck. So, really cool to see this Blissey deck do well. I don't think Blissey has had a lot of success yet over on our side, so maybe with rotation, Blissey becomes a better deck. It's just like a wall deck with triple Monkey Dory and Blissey. Obviously, no DT kind of nerfs Blissey a little bit, but the idea of Blissey is you can move the energy around on your Monkey Dories, and you can spam Adrenabrain while you have these big walls in the active spot. The A-Spec is being the Hero's Cape. You can have this like beefy Farigiraf in the active, and while your opponent is trying to chip away at Farigiraf, you can just, heal it off with Monkey Dory, which can be very annoying. So, yeah, it definitely looks funny. I mean, walls in general are looking really good. Spoiler alert, walls are doing good this format and did really good at the Fukuoka Champions League. So, we'll have to see how these wall decks do. I mean, maybe Blissey is kind of the tech card for the wall mirror match, maybe? I don't know. But I mean, Blissey does have its merits with Happy Switch and Monkey Dory, but it's cool to see Blissey do well. And then, yeah, speaking of walls, we got another wall deck in top 4. So 3 of the top 4 decks at this Champions League were playing Milotic EX. Milotic, like I said, its stocks might be going way up right now. And this was more of a classic walls deck. It's got the Cornerstone, the Milotic, and once again, the Farigiraf in the deck. No Blissey, but does still keep the Monkey Dories. The A-Spec of choice is the Pokevital A to heal your Pokemon and make them even harder to deal with. So very interesting stuff here. We got the 4 Crispin in the deck as a way to kind of accelerate energy on your board, playing TM Evo and Turbo Energize for some extra consistency and support in the deck too. But yeah, walls looking pretty good right now. I don't know. Let me know what you think of walls down below. I mean, it's not as bad as Snorlax. I mean, yeah, I guess you can't play the game. If your deck is not built to beat a deck like this, I mean, it sucks to suck, I guess. But, I mean, it's not as bad as playing against Snorlax at the very least, right? But let me know what you think of these type of decks doing really good. Is it good for the game or bad for the game? Let me know in the comments below. Or are people just not building their decks good enough to respect these decks? Let me know what you think down below. In the top 8, we had another interesting archetype. We had the Terra Toolbox deck. Not Tord's list. Tord was able to make cut with the deck, but I think cut was like ASIM cut as opposed to top 8. But we do see an iteration of the Terra Box deck. I did do a video on this deck, but I kind of made more of a video on the Tord list. Now, the gimmick of the deck is that you have a lot of really good attackers to pick and choose what you're knocking out. You got the Pikachu EX, which is really good. You got the Ogerpons. You got the Wellspring, which can take 2 prizes out of nowhere on low HP basics. Clefairy is kind of the big addition to the deck. Right now, this deck would not do as well in our current format because Clefairy doesn't exist. It doesn't allow you to have a really good time versus Dragapult, which is what the Clefairy is for. Like I said, this isn't Tord's list, but it does have similarities. It's playing the Ditto. It doesn't have the Budu, is something Tord didn't play. Plays a Judge 2 in the deck and an Iono and 1 Research, but cool to see this Terra Box deck do well. It looks like a very fascinating deck, though I imagine it might struggle a little bit versus, the Cornerstones and the Farigirafs of the world. Yep, another wall deck in top 8. This one does add the Mimikyu. It's not playing the Tatsugiri or the Monkey Dory, though, like what we saw in the other wall deck, but this one does play Pokevital A. The A-Spec of choice does play the Turbo Energize and the Team Evo, and of course, the 4 copies of Crispin. So just another annoying wall deck, just trying to wall your opponent out of the game. I mean, we'll have to see if this deck becomes common because, I mean, it looks like a lot of these were in top 8, so fun times, I guess, right? And there's another one in top 8. Jeez, man. Holy moly. This deck is insane. This one does play the Monkey Dory. Does keep the Mimikyu, Hero's Cape as the A-Spec over the Pokevital A, and then, yeah, just plays 4 Crispin, Turbo Energized Team Evo, the classic engine we've been seeing in the Wall style deck. All right, different deck this time. We got our first look at Charizard EX, and it was actually Charizard with Terapagos and Noctowl. No Pidgeot in the deck, just opting for the Noctowl for the Jonjin. Does play the Dusknoir in the deck still. Obviously, Charizard Dusknoir is a classic combo. Dusknoir probably would be good into the wall decks, I guess. Does have no Charmeleon, though, but does have a couple Fan Rotoms. Obviously, you got Terapagos in deck. I wonder if this deck could actually handle the wall stall deck. I mean, yeah, you do have Dusknoir, but I guess you'd probably get Milotic would probably farm you. Because you can't attack with Charizard or Terapagos. Yeah, maybe, man, there's no canceling clone. I guess like this is the one thing I want to say about the wall deck. Probably the reason why the wall decks are so good right now is cologne rotated. So depending on how you build your decks, you're gonna struggle against this deck because your deck might not have the answers for it because of cologne rotating out of the format, right? Like this deck would probably be like 2 cologne if it really wanted to respect walls, which walls did really good this tournament. So this deck probably loses to the wall stall deck because it doesn't really have any good answers to like my low tick or anything. But cool to see Charizard do well. All right, we have our look here at more of a classic Dragapult deck from what we're used to in our current meta. This deck kind of retains a lot of its cards with the rotation. I mean, you still have the Dusknoirs, the Budews, the Fez, the Dragapult. You do lose the V's, so you lose the Luminion and the Rotom and the Forest Seal Stone stuff that it might want to play. But you still keep a lot of the other stuff. I guess Lance rotated too. It's another card to mention. There's no Lance, but instead of Lance, the Dragapult deck is playing the Jock in the deck to help find your evolutions a little bit easier, which makes sense. But yeah, Dragapult is still looking like a good deck. That's probably why, again, the Walls did so good, is because they have a decent time versus Dragapult. And then obviously, we saw the Wall decks playing the Monkey Dories, the Feraligatr playing the Monkey Dory. They're all pretty good versus Dragapult, which is why they probably did well. But yeah, it looks like the more, classic Streamline version of Dragapult that we're used to right now is still doing good in the format. All right, this is another Terra box deck. Not towards list. This one does play a Farigiraf, so you have another different Terra Pokemon on top of the ones we already looked at, the Pikachu and the Clefairy and the Wellspring. It does play the Farigiraf in the deck, so you have a little bit of extra wall protection. There's no Tropicos in this one either, but yeah, I did add the Farigiraf, which again can help in the mirror match and can help against other big basic decks. And then here we go. This is Tord's list. So yeah, Tord did make top 16 at the Champions League with this deck, and it was the Terra box deck. I based my video off of Tord's list. Obviously, again, no Clefairy or anything in the deck, but really cool to see Tord do well in the tournament with the deck. And I like his list a lot. A lot of cool things going on. But yeah, Terra box looks really good. Might struggle against the wall decks for sure. You do have some answers. You have Mew in the deck and stuff, but sometimes the wall decks can be just really tough to deal with when they have like 4 Crispin and stuff. It's honestly just the walls kind of remind me of like where we're seeing the Iron Thorns decks. Like there's no engine. They're just annoying because they just play 4 Crispin and they're just constantly attacking you and stuff. So I'll have to see on that one. Another wall deck in top 16. This one not playing Monkey Dory or Mimikyu. I guess the engine is the one of Tatsugiri, but does have the Pokevital A as the A spec in the deck, which is pretty funny to see. And then again in top 16, we have a Raging Bolt deck here. Raging Bolt looks still really good in the format, but I guess a lot of decks were countering it really hard with the Farigiraf and stuff. So, but Raging Bolt would probably still be good into the wall decks because you can go Raging Bolt, and if they can't get Farigiraf out, you can kind of deal with them, I guess. That's kind of the answer. But yeah, Raging Bolt looks good. Also, good Dragapult matchup. Another reason why Raging Bolt's still good. It kind of stays the same. You just play the Noctowl engine in the deck to help support the deck. And we've seen this build in the top 16. The Champions League was playing the Noctowl engine instead. In top 16, there was an Enzoric deck that did well, which is cool to see. I like this deck. I want this deck to be good. We'll have to see if Enzoric can keep up good results. It's a fun deck, right? You get the Darmanitan. That's kind of the big thing. You get access to Darmanitan to pick stuff off and snipe them off. You have the Reshiram in the deck. We did see the Enzoric deck actually on stream against Tord. Tord did beat it on the winning but it got close. I mean, it was like, at first it was like, wow, the Enzoric deck draws all these cards, all these cool plays, but just kind of does nothing, but actually almost still managed to beat Tord. I mean, Tord just got Ionoed into Blood Moon Energy for game, but yeah, really cool to see the Enzoric deck still do well in the Champions League nonetheless. I want this deck to be good, man. I really do. I don't know if we're going to get any more Ends cards to improve the deck a little bit more, because I think a lot of the deck is attacking with the Darmanitan. We see 2 copies of Reversal Energy in this list here to use Darmanitan as an attacker. It's also a Fire type. The type coverage can be somewhat relevant, I guess, right? Against, like, Ogerpon, I guess. So, there you go. But, hopefully, this deck does better in the future. We'll have to see, though, on that one. The top 16, there was a Flareon deck here, which is kind of cool. So, Flareon's a nice deck. We see the Flareon with the Leafeon in the deck. It's the only other evolution. Just kind of an attacking Flareon list here. Can use Carnelian, right? You got the Water, the Lightnings in the deck. And then you have the Leafeon. Bit of type coverage, I guess, which is why that's in there. See the Noctowl engine as the engine to help set up the deck a little bit. Just kind of like the Terra box deck, except you're playing Flareon over all these like big basic Pokemon. And much like the Pikachu, you get that one-shot potential with Flareon. So cool to see that do well. But again, it might struggle against, probably will really struggle against my low tick, which is kind of the big deal there. Then we got a Goldango deck here in the top 16. This one not playing Dragapult, opting for the Dunsparce engine for some extra draw. And does play the new stadium that Iono's Belly Bowl can play. The new stadium allows you to get the light energy back, so you kind of have an extra energy retrieval on top of the retrievals you already play in the deck, which is really cool to see. So definitely excited to try out Goldengo in the new format with this new stadium. And the Dunsparce is nice. Again, you kind of lack the backup attack option with the Dragapult and the extra draw with Dracloak, but you do offset that with a better maybe draw engine with the Dunsparce in the deck, which is really cool to see. All right. In the top 32, we saw Rahul do pretty good with the Terra Box deck. Also, Rahul was playing the same 60 as Tord. So yeah, they had the exact same list here. They both played the Terra Box deck, and Rahul did pretty good in the tournament too with the deck. And then we got the Seniors Division decks to look at here. The deck that won the Seniors Division was actually, let me move it over a little bit, was actually a very interesting Frostlass Espathra deck. Okay, that's kind of interesting to see. Frostlass Espathra won in the Seniors Division. I mean, Budu Frostlass is already an interesting archetype with the monkeys, got the Blood Moon in there, and then, yeah, the addition of the Espathra. It does play the new Maractus, which, when the Maractus gets knocked out, your opponent takes 6 damage counters or something, so just like an annoying wall to be in the active spot. The downside of playing the Espathra, though, is not TM Devo, Frostlass does damage you, and then I guess if any deck wants to play Devo, it can be a problem. This build does play 2 Devos, though, to try to de-evolve from Pokemon. So, yeah, Frostlass does cool stuff. I don't know if it's good into the wall decks. Maybe it would be, though. I mean, my low-tick pressure would be good against them. You just can't use this Pathra, obviously, in that matchup. Also, Unfair Stamp, I see a spec. And Lucky Helmet's a cool addition to try to draw some cards and stuff. On the second place list, wow. Was that two Frostlass decks in the finals? Yeah, the mirror match, what the heck? Well, not really a mirror. This one, instead of playing Espathra, plays the Evo jamming Bronzong to deny your opponent to be able to evolve. Also plays a Mimikyu in the deck, but yeah, wow. The finals in the Seniors Division were both Budu Frostlass decks. That's kind of cool to see. Very interesting stuff. Is that big for Frostlass going forward? It might be. I mean, Frostlass is kind of an underexplored card, in my opinion. Top 4 had a Raging Bolt deck. Also, we see the Raging Bolt Noctowl deck here. Played a Cornerstone Ogerpon in the deck to help support it. But, yeah, just normal Raging Bolt stuff. Just, again, playing the Noctowl engine in the deck for more consistency. Then we had another deck in the final, or the top 4 here was a Terra Box deck once again. This one does not play the Pikachu EX. It does play the Cornerstone Ogerpon. And now, Cornerstone Ogerpon would probably be a good addition to the deck to help in the Wall Stall deck. So that's probably a reason to play the Cornerstone Ogerpon in the deck, because it would help in the Wall Stall matchup. But, Terra Box looking pretty good. Make top 4 in the Seniors Division still. And again, Cornerstone might be a play going forward. We have another Terra Box deck here. This one's got 4 Teal Masks. It's got the Clefairy in there. Bundle. No Cornerstone in here. It does play Lily's Pearl alongside 2 Lily's Clefairy. So try to lean a little bit more into the Lily's Clefairy as one of your main attackers in the deck. And we got another cool deck here. Goldengo deck. Once again with the Dunsparce engine, but does play Scizor. Scizor might be pretty good against the Walls deck. Maybe, maybe not. The problem with Scizor, though, is it gets one-shot by low tick. So I don't know about that, but it is cool to see the Scizor being included. I mean, I've seen the Scizor in Goldengo before, just never has good results. Does play the new Stadium alongside the 2 Lightning and has Artisan in the deck, and then the Dunsparce for the engine. You got the Monkey Dory in the deck, too, for some extra healing and stuff. We got a Dragapult deck doing good. Again, classic Dragapult with the Dusknoir and the Budu. Just, again, a couple changes with the Jock and stuff over Lance. And then, of course, the Vs. I like the addition of Halucha for some extra spread damage with Phantom Dive. That can be relevant to fix math against other Dreepies and stuff with Phantom Dive. So that's nice to see, I guess. And then we had another Dragapult deck do well. This one had Unfair Stamp as the spec. Also played a Bravery Charm to make the Budu a little bit more bulkier, which is pretty funny. So I guess the Budu's more immune to Monkey Dory with the Bravery Charm on, and you can protect it in other weird scenarios, so that's pretty funny. And then Unfair Stamp can be a very annoying A-spec with the Dragapult there, so that was the top 8 of the Seniors Division. And then in the Juniors Division, the deck that won was Dragazard. So Pulsar won this tournament. It's got the Dusknoir in the deck, the 2 Budu, the Halucha, no Pidgeot or anything. Harder to play Pidgeot on this meta, I guess, but does play the Unfair Stamp. Also playing the new Brock Supporter card, which is interesting. That's a nice little setup card. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Dragapult, pretty good deck. Pulsar won the Juniors Division. Charizard's still decent. Again, it would struggle more into the wall deck, I would imagine, right? I mean, you have the Dusknoir, but can Dusknoir really carry you in that matchup? Probably not. And then we got a Raging Bolt here. Looks like it made the finals. Raging Bolt, not as good against Charizard, though Charizard gets weaker in a Raging Bolt, though, because you lose Radzard, which is a big deal. This one does play the Noctowls in the deck. Does have a Tassagiri, which is kind of cool to help dig for the Sada or the Crispin to help get those aggressive Raging Bolt attacks off. Then top 4, we had another Charizard Terapagos deck do well. This one does play the 1/1 Pidgeot on the deck. I still like Pidgeot. I know Budew is popular, and Budew can be annoying to play against when you're playing a Pidgeot Charizard deck, but I still think Pidgeot Charizard is a very good combo worth trying out. This Terapagos Charizard deck looks pretty cool to see. Got the 2 Terapagos in there. Still has a Dusknoir in the deck. Does play the Prime Catcher as the ace spec of choice in that build. Then in top 4, we had another Charizard deck. So Charizard did really good in this juniors division of this Champions League. This one does have the Pidgeots in the deck here. No Tropicos. Does play a couple Wellspring Ogerpon. So that's actually interesting about this build, is to try to utilize Wellspring. Again, one big thing with rotation, why we're seeing the Wellsprings and even the Enzoric deck do well, and why that deck was popular, is because there's no Manaphy in the format, right? No more Manaphy in the format makes these snipe attacks a whole lot stronger, which is a big thing for Wellspring Ogerpon. And this one also plays Black Kyurem as a Dragon Tech card. We've seen Charizard play like Lily's Clefairy to help against the Dragon decks, but I guess Black Kyurem could be kind of cute too in some scenarios if you can pull it off. And you can build it up easily with Charizard. This deck plays a lot of energy, man. That's what, 11 energy, 4 waters, 7 fire energy. Kind of crazy. And I guess Black Kyurem can be another attacker you can use against like Milotic and stuff in that regards. But you do have Pidgeot, which can be good against that too. And then you have Dusknoir in the deck, so you're kind of a little bit more heavily teched out for the Milotics and stuff. But yeah, Charizard Pidgeot did pretty good here too, so we'll see if the Charizard Pidgeot deck can continue to see success in the future. And that was all the lists so far that we have access to on Pokeka Book. We get a good look at the top 16, right, with the Enzoric deck doing well, the Flareon deck, the Raging Bull. But the big story of the weekend, obviously, is Milotic. Like, these wall decks did really, really good. A lot of, I think actually the entire top 4 was playing Monkey Dory in the deck, too. So, Monkey Dory was very common this weekend, too. So, I mean, Dragapult kind of got a lot of hate this weekend with the Milotic doing well, and with the Monkey Dories being very popular, but it's still cool to see stuff like the Feraligatr deck take down the entire tournament. It's been a while since we've seen a single prize deck like this win a giant tournament, so it's really cool for that to happen. I know a lot of people really want the Feraligatr deck to be good, and again, with rotation, maybe it's time for Feraligatr to win. I imagine Feraligatr is more favored into the wall deck. The wall deck can't really do anything against Feraligatr. I guess maybe it can, because Cornerstone Ogerpon can be a bit of a nuisance, but you can deal with Ogerpon, I guess, in some different scenarios. But I guess Feraligatr can't touch Ogerpon, so I don't know about that. But anyways, it's still cool to see the Feraligatr deck win. But yeah, the big takeaway, walls are really good. Goldengo did good, which is cool to see. I like Goldengo. It's nice to see it make finals. The Terror Box deck also looks strong. You know, Dragapult, Raging Bolt didn't do as well. Those are like the 2 most popular decks in Japan right now, or the ones that have won the most. So we'll have to see if those decks are going to continue to do well at the City Leagues post Fukuoka results here. But really cool to see these results nonetheless. Let me know what you think of them. What was your favorite deck that did well? And let me know what you think of the wall decks doing good in this tournament. Do you think that's healthy for the game to see these wall decks be so popular, or do you think people are just not building the decks properly to help counter them? Let me know what you think of that all in the comment section below. Again, I'll leave a link to Pokeka Book if you want to go build any of the decks for yourself. And yeah, thanks for watching. Catch y'all in another video very soon, and bye-bye.